All right, what is up, everyone? This is Francis over here from PlayerEssence.com, and today I have a special guest with me, Mr. Red Fox, for this discussion debate.
Discuss debate.
Discuss
It's a discuss debate.
discuss debate. Let me just tell you something. Let me just tell you something right now. Whenever I do any of these, some people think that I'm doing it to try to say, "Oh, this person is wrong." I'm going to tell them. Me and Mr. Red Fox, we're actually good friends. And this discussion is beneficial to all of us because not only can he get his opinion out as far as what was going on, as far as what we're about to talk about, which is Splatoon and stuff like that, but I can also talk about it from my point of view, and we can let you guys hear more discussion. So it's really just content for you guys. I mean, I don't know. You feel the same way, Red Fox?
I love it. Like, here's the thing. This is what a debate should be. Like, no one like going to a video and like spamming it like with 100 comments saying you're stupid, you suck, the Wii U is weak. Like, someone stating their thing and providing evidence or the reason why they came to that supposition rather than just just trolling. So this is what if you have a problem with something someone says, this is much more conducive than just resorting to 5-year-old you're stupid.
It's funny how many adults resort to that on the line. But what we're going to be talking about today is, first, we're going to talk about Splatoon. We're going to talk about the whole voice chat thing because that came up again. And I actually already did a video on this back. I said Splatoon, from when I played it, doesn't need voice chat. Like, it's not a big deal for me. But I do feel that it should be in there. And the more that I played Splatoon and the more that I played with my friends, I did want to talk to them.
The option should be there. The option, or actually, I'm not going to say it should be there because then I sound like a spoiled brat. No,
it should.
No. I disagree. The reason I say I don't want to say it should be there is because, like, some things should be standard. Like, but there's in economics, they have this thing called your experience cost, what you're giving up in order to have this. So, I mean, there's always, no matter what you get, no matter what game you get, there's going to be like you're giving up X in order to have Y.
But
right?
I don't feel that should be Nintendo's aim. Here's the reason why I don't feel that. Because, listen, you buy a Wii U for how much? Yeah. $350, right? A lot of us did at launch or near that. You buy a Wii U for that price. You buy the game for $60. Yeah. Okay, so you're spending $400. I mean, even if you bought the $299 model,
you're spending between $350 to $400 for just this game and the system.
In any type of consumer electronics, there are features that are standard. If you bought a $400 phone, would you really expect it not to be able to talk on the phone and look at an app at the same time?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't expect that. But every single $400 phone can do that.
No. I agree with you because I have a $400+ phone.
I have a $600 phone.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, I mean, mine was $600 too, but I didn't want to go. It's $600. I was trying to be a little bit less.
Okay. Everybody has $600 phones. Like, we were just talking about how people drive, $40,000-$50,000 cars. And
there are certain things and this is just part of my mentality because I'm an old school gamer. But when I buy a console, I get a console for one thing, to play games, right? That's what you get a console for. Generally, like any console, even back in the day if you had Atari or whatever. Depending on the console manufacturer, you have your experience cost. Now, it used to be that you would get the same stuff with the PS3 because Sony, basically, PSN is a copy of games for the gold membership with Microsoft, except in my opinion, PSN's not quite as attractive because it's like you're renting the games that you get versus Xbox. They're like, you paid us, here it is.
Microsoft copied Sony. Sony started it first, and Microsoft made a program that was better.
Well, I mean,
because PS Plus came first. PS Plus came in the PS3 era.
But the thing is that Xbox always had their gold membership with all of these quote unquote, you see, I have my camera thing. I'm using air quotes, perks, because gold, when it first announced, was kind of like, they gave you these perks, but it's like, you're already kind of paying for this shit. So these aren't really perks.
Hold up. Like, the thing about it is there's games with gold. Games with gold was a new thing they started in response to, they always had the perks with gold. Like you get some discounts here and there.
I said, well, I mean, I'm using perks because, I mean, if you're paying $50 a year, or some people who just like, for some reason, they couldn't do the $50 a year, so they did the $15 a month. But we're digressing. Basically, depending on what console you're getting, you're expecting certain features. I mean, because I mean, like personally, I don't want to live in a universe in it. I don't want to, or I shouldn't say that. I don't want to game in a universe where every single console is the same.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be the same. I mean,
and I don't like. I don't expect every single console to have the same features as every other console.
But the Wii U has literally almost no features. I mean,
I mean,
that's the thing.
For
like,
me,
it has. I mean, I've been making videos on the Wii U how the OS needs to improve for 2 years. I gave Nintendo a year to try to see if they can things. The system, you can't spend $300 plus in today's day, 2012 when it was launched, and to this point, you can't spend $300 to $400 and say, okay, well, we're just going to put a system out there. There's no features, and you know what? If you guys ask for anything, we're not going to listen to you, because that's what Nintendo does. They don't listen to anything that their fans say.
Okay,
and
you're talking about what
like
you're not getting. You're not getting. Yes, there are certain features on the Wii U that are not that it doesn't have in common with the other ones. You're right. They are not equal, but they're not supposed to be. There are features on the Wii U that are completely missing on the PS4 and the Xbox One. And I don't hear anyone with those consoles bitching about it.
Like what? What features?
A cohesive off-screen dual screen experience with quite a few of their games with the gamepad.
I mean, but is that a feature? That's a feature that like you have to add hardware. That's like a bolt-on.
I mean,
feature,
but it's there.
But I mean, they do have their dual screen.
Miiverse.
I mean, they do have their bolted on dual screen experience.
Personally speaking, for me, I prefer Miiverse over people talking to me while I'm playing a game.
But here's the problem with Miiverse, and here's the problem with what you're saying. Like the PS4 and Xbox One, they have a Miiverse type thing built in, where you go to the dash, you'll see what your friends are doing. They can make posts. They have showcase. What they did, they just didn't make it some big old deal like Nintendo did. Like, hey, here's this whole separate thing that takes about 30 seconds to boot up, and then you can look at stuff in extremely slow fashion. The Xbox One and the PS4, they have a Miiverse built right into the dash, where you see what your friends are doing, can click and respond on things, can make comments. They just thought it wasn't a big deal. Like Nintendo made it into a big old huge deal. It's not. All the systems. I'm
aware of what they have, but Miiverse is different, because Miiverse you have a
slow and clunky. It's slow and clunky and not tied to the dash, and a lot of people don't even go in there to check things. I mean,
Miiverse is a completely it's different. Okay, for one thing, unlike Xbox Live, okay, I don't have to worry about some 8 or 9-year-old running their mouth saying things that really an 8 or 9-year-old should have no knowledge about while I'm playing a game. I don't have to worry about that. But
wait, what? That doesn't make any. Hold up, that doesn't make any sense. We're not talking about an 8 or 9-year-old. I mean, do you have 8 or 9-year-old friends?
My point is that Miiverse is regulated, so I don't have to. There's certain things I don't have to worry about on Miiverse, on there being Miiverse, on their being in Miiverse, because it is regulated and controlled.
Your dashboard is regulated and controlled because it's your friends. Because it's your friends. It's only the people that you care about. Now, there's popular streamers, but that's regulated by Microsoft and Sony too. They'll show you.
Yeah, but isn't that more or less a slave to how much money X person or Y person is paid in terms of the streamers?
No, it's based on like popularity, people who stream the most and stuff like that, and it's built into your dash. I mean, and like hold up, like the Miiverse stuff that like let's say the Microsoft and Sony's Miiverse, that is all your friends. So it's only people you care about. Miiverse, I mean, they have the activity feed, but a lot of Miiverse is just random Mii's saying stuff. I mean, look, I thought Miiverse is cool, but it needs to be integrated. It needs to be integrated into the Dash. The fact that it's a whole separate thing is a problem. It's a problem. It takes 30 seconds to boot up the thing, or 20-something seconds.
Yeah, but is that an issue? But I mean, if that's an issue for you, that's your issue. Like for me personally, Miiverse is fun. It's a nice addition. It's an answer to me having to deal with having shit always in my face with Xbox Live's dashboard and PSN. Don't get me started on PSN. I don't like that particular presentation.
But there's always but War Plaza throws a bunch of crap in your face every time you boot up the system.
And you don't have to. Look with you. I mean, seriously, not an issue. But I mean, but my point is that I mean, I don't know about other people, but I mean, you're paying. So yes, the OS might not be up to snuff.
No, it's
but
not.
Damn it, I'm getting the best first-party games in the industry.
Okay, and you know what? You're 100% right about that. But here's the thing, Red Fox. Like, it's not just about the games. It's about how you interact with the games.
It is.
No, and
people
here's the
buy
thing.
consoles to play games.
But people also buy consoles
to play games. The
sole
purpose of a console is to play games.
And I agree. And the problem with this is that Nintendo in general, the Wii U makes it the hardest to play with your friends. It's supposed to be about, we're all easy. It makes it the hardest by far. I have a PS4, I have an Xbox One, I have a Wii U, and I know how to use all of them.
But the problem with your argument right now is that it's subjective. It's hard. It is subjective because it depends on what type of gamer you are. If you're the type of gamer who likes that social aspect, then yes, that is hard for you to play games. But I grew up as an only child, and typically speaking, I didn't have anyone else to play with. So the concept of, let me go send a message to my friend so I can play what's a big Destiny. I can play Destiny with them. That's not very interesting.
That's ridiculous. So since you're not interested in it, it's okay to have horrible online features to play with your friends?
Which leads to my supposition. Basically, the issue is that your argument itself is subjective. Would it be cool? Would it be a good thing if they had a more equitable OS?
No. This is what I said. I said Nintendo makes it the hardest to play with your friends. And here's the reason why it's not subjective. Because with Nintendo, you can't send friend invites. I said they make it the hardest. So with Microsoft and Sony, you go to one menu quickly. You can say, send a friend invite. You can invite them to a party. You can invite them to a chat. So you have easier tools to get in contact with your friends, to play games with your friends. With Nintendo, most games don't have friend invites. Smash Bros. Doesn't. It's almost impossible to play your friends in Smash Bros. If you don't use a secondary device like a computer to get on Google and try to get their attention. And here's the thing, Nintendo doesn't have on-screen notifications. So getting people's attention who play Smash Bros. Is hard, especially if they're using the GameCube controller. Are they really gonna look for a little blue light to go to Miiverse? And on top of that, many places on Nintendo's dashboard, like when you play Smash Bros., you're not allowed to, like, it won't let you hit the home button. So you can't even check your messages to see if somebody said, hey, you want to play Smash? There's no on-screen notifications, so you can't get invited to a game. You have to literally open up a room, then send a message to me. I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess.
I'll take your word on it. I'll take your word on it.
You don't have to take my word. That's fact. I have
the reason
over 5,000.
Here's the reason I'm going to take your word on it. When I do play multiplayer in Smash Brothers, I play it locally.
Okay.
So, like, the issues you're dealing with, I'll take your word for it.
If you're trying to play, like, here's the thing. Like, I'll play For Glory, okay? So I'll get online, I'll play For Glory. Yeah. I'll find somebody. I beat most people because most people on For Glory suck. But sometimes I'll find the person that bodies me, okay? And when I get bodied on For Glory, I want to know that person. So Nintendo did a good job of saying, hey, you can see their profile, you can send a friend request. But trying to actually get them, like when they accept your friend request, to set up a match, because there's no friend invite system, there's no quick messaging system. half the time you can't go into Miiverse because Nintendo won't allow you to press the button to get to your messages. Is just it's a very I don't know what they were thinking when they thought about doing this type of online. That's what I'm talking about.
Didn't they already tell us what they were thinking when they made their online infrastructure?
Did they? What were they thinking?
They did. Iwata
no friend invites. Who said it was a good? Whose idea was it to say no friend invites? That's what I want to know. Who said, you know what, we shouldn't do friend invites? That's not a good thing.
Can we be honest and remember what Iwata himself told us?
Okay, please remind me. I would love to hear.
If I remember, and I'm paraphrasing, he said that our online infrastructure was created because it's very piecemeal. As it was created, is very piecemeal because we created like a piece to serve a specific function. So basically, like as they needed stuff, they created software, like an infrastructure, a piece of an infrastructure, and then they tried to get it to run together. And I mean, that's why you have the clunky OS that they have now, because everything was like, they never actually had someone come in and do from scratch from the ground up.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, especially since it's ridiculous because the Xbox 360 and the PS3 were launched in 2005 and 6.
No,
and
here's the reason why it's not quite ridiculous. If you are a company that's trying to limit your expenditures in order to maximize your revenue so that you can turn a bigger profit, it doesn't make sense, especially when you look at their previous consoles.
It doesn't make sense, or it doesn't? You said it doesn't.
No, I said it does make sense if you look at the previous two consoles. If you look at the Wii and the DS, the people who were playing on that generally didn't give a shit. Well, didn't really care that much about online too much.
Nintendo said that this system was for us. They said it's for you, the gamer. Well, that's what Reggie Fils-Aimé said.
Yeah, but a gamer is predicated on games.
I understand.
And gameplay experiences.
Exactly. Now, and if you have a bad gameplay experience because you can't play your friends because of the horrible system.
And that's the thing. See, here's the thing. You're saying, okay, for you, that is an issue. For me, since when I do play multiplayer, it's local, and I don't play as many, like, Splatoon and Mario Kart 8, I played a lot of single player. I played multiplayer sparingly, and I didn't have an issue. Smash Brothers, I play for glory, for fun, and I get friend invites, but it's like,
I mean, that's the whole thing.
I mean, it's not an issue for me. I just,
for multiple gamers everywhere, the problem is like, I don't think that like a simple on-screen notification and friend invite should be a problem, and they should have invested in it. If that's the thing, people are their own fans are complaining about this. Their own fans, guys that are in the Gamers at Large network that we all watch, are complaining about the same things. Let's not bring up Gamers at Large, because as we all know, that's had a specific issue. But people aren't. Here's the thing. Like Xbox, like whenever you talk to an Xbox guy, like when I go to the gym and I play basketball against the guys, they all know that I run a site. They all know that I'm the games guy. They all come up to me and talk to me about games. And these are not the people that go to sites every single day. And they say, hey, Francis, what should I get? This and that. It's almost impossible for me to, believe it or not, it's almost impossible for me to recommend a Wii U, because they say, hey, can I play NBA 2K5 and play my friends easily? And I'm like, no, you can't. Or sorry, NBA 2K15 or 14. I'm like, no, you can't do that. Hey, can I play Madden with my buddies? No, you can't do that. Okay, well, can I play the new Star Wars game coming out with my friends? No, you can't do that. I'm like, hey, can I party up with my friends and talk, and we can all get into a game of Halo or get into a game of
I'm
like, no, you can't do that either. So then
I hate to sound like a game elitist, but so.
But you say so.
No, I say no. I'll tell you why I say so. Because
look at their console sales.
Those console sales are awesome, but those games are bleh.
But it's subjective, right? You're saying about,
and your argument is also subjective. I mean, like, you're saying
it's a fact that you can't play Star Wars and Madden and all that.
Look, it's an issue, but here's the thing: like, some people are not bothered by it, some people are, but that's an opinion.
And I agree, but it's fact that not having these games is limiting your market, your market reach.
It's limiting their market share. It's
limiting their market share, and it's limiting Nintendo's ability to make money, and it could.
But let's be honest, they've had limited market share for years.
Not with the Wii.
Not with the Wii, but the GameCube, the N64.
But that was how many years ago? And the N64 and GameCube still had more units sold than the Wii U. The Wii U's doing way worse than both of those systems.
Yeah, but it's still not the worst selling Nintendo console.
It's the worst selling Nintendo main home console. And you want to take out Virtual Boy and like 64 DD and all that junk. It's the worst selling main line. And at this point, Nintendo has shown people just said, hey, can Nintendo improve? You know what I'm saying? Can they improve the system? Because people see, it's also word of mouth. When you tell people, well, it doesn't have voice chat, it doesn't have party chat, it doesn't have these things, it doesn't have built-in Twitch, people say, well, that's not really appealing to me. And then you look at the price at $299, the $300, then you're it's pretty close to an Xbox One.
Here's the thing. I haven't had that problem chatting people up into buying Wii U's.
Then you need to talk to a lot more people because the Wii U's not selling very well.
I think it depends on the type of gamer. Like,
True.
For me, like as someone old school gamer, I don't give a shit about online multiplayer. So for the people that I know who are like me, we don't give a shit about that. We want good games, and if Nintendo get good games, we're happy with that.
Here's the thing, and if Nintendo had that mentality that you have, they're going to do worse. Like if they had that mentality, we don't give a shit about online. If they thought that, then they're going to do worse.
I think they have to create now. Well, the thing is this. If they follow the trend of being like their competitors entirely,
they don't have to be their competitors.
No, I didn't see. You didn't even let me finish. I said if they follow the trend of being like their competitors entirely, they lose the essence of what makes them them. If they can manage to please both groups, to maintain their high quality games and also have the features that people, some people, I'm not going to say all people because that would be a generalization, then that pleases the best of both crowds. I don't know. I mean, could they do it? Well, it's Nintendo. I never count Nintendo out. Let me put it this way: when they're quiet and sitting in the corner, and you think they ain't doing shit, that's when you got to be worried about them.
Here's the thing: Nintendo is they're unique because of their games. That's what makes Nintendo. They can copy the Xbox and PlayStation to the T, but Nintendo will still be unique because of their games. Everybody talks about the PlayStation and Xbox and what they have, and if they're really talking about third-party games, if Nintendo made a system that was competent in those areas, they would still be uniquely Nintendo. They would still be. You know why? Because of their games. The thing about Nintendo is what they need to listen to. They need to listen to people who also want to take advantage of their games as far as playing online with their friends and being able to. I don't want to buy a $300 product and say, no, you're not allowed to talk to somebody. In my opinion, in consumer electronics, that's crap. There is no company that does that says, here's a $300-something product. No, you can't talk to your friends because I don't want you to. You can't tell people, and that's the reason why the Wii U is not selling as well, and why the 3DS, although it's doing well because of the amazing games that it gets. If Nintendo decided to let people actually use chat on 3DS and let people actually do things and make the system more in line with mobile devices, not necessarily playing mobile games, but hey, I can do cross game chat, I can do fast messages. I mean, it would do better. It would do better.
I'm not going to. I disagree with that supposition because I'm not like. Here's the thing. I don't know if it would do better. I don't know if they spent the money to create that type of infrastructure and added it to the 3DS. Would it do better? I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so.
Even though it's doing so well right now, there are people.
I think the reason the 3DS is doing well right now, or actually. I mean, let's be frank. Nintendo handhelds have always typically done really well. So, yes. I mean, the reason why they do well is because they have great games. And they have exclusive games that you can only get on that console. Sorry. Well, I mean, it's a handheld, but on that dedicated device. And, like, Nintendo has always, like, they've never treated their handheld and their console business like they're two separate entities. They tend to give, like, really good efforts on each of the particular platforms. So there's just certain, like, if you want certain things, you like, the only way you can get them is on that particular thing. I don't think if you had on software wise, like if you, for example, like if you want to play Pokemon, you got to have a Nintendo handheld. That's just the way it is. Now, you look at the other handheld competitors that have tried to put handhelds out in the market that got curb stomped by whatever Nintendo had at the time. They had more features, more shit, more bells and whistles, but they didn't succeed. Why? Because they didn't have the software library. It's for the handheld, it's about the software library. It's really like, I don't think people, oh great, I can, because I've talked to people. I've talked to people, hardcore gamers, old school gamers, new gamers. I said, if Nintendo made a mobile tech device that also played their games, would you buy it? And most of them are like, eh. So I really don't.
Mobile, as in like what, like a phone? I'm not talking about.
When I say mobile, I said a handheld device that also had the type of features that you find on a mobile phone. And most of them were.
Why would you not want the type of features that?
Look, I don't look.
But it's
Me
still
personally,
like
me
who would be like that? Tell me who would.
Oh,
you know what? I don't want to be able to talk to my friend peer-to-peer chat. I don't want to be able to
like
send messages
because
who doesn't want that?
Because most people who play handheld devices just want to be able to sit down, play their game, and do whatever. And it's kind of awkward. I mean, think about it. A lot of people play their mobile games over the CAN. Kind of awkward to do that if someone's calling you.
But a lot of people. I'm not talking about calling you. I didn't say anything.
You're hiding away. You know,
I said messaging. You
don't
have to accept
but they're two different experiences, right?
But you don't have to accept if the voice.
Yeah, but they're two different experiences, and people don't want to mix them. It's like eating and shitting at the same time.
Some people do that. Things. I mean,
and that is those are two things that should never be mixed. You know, so I mean, there's some things that need to be separate, and there are other things you can integrate. But there's just some things like your gaming. I don't really want to talk to anyone or.
I 100% disagree with that.
That's just me.
There's games.
We can go on this all day long. I really, because that's not the main issue here. Was I said that Splatoon, by Nintendo standards, may not be a budget title, but by Nintendo standards compared to the rest of the industry, it probably is.
I said there's no way to prove that it's a budget title.
There is no way to prove it, but I do have some information that gives insight on how Nintendo develops games and could very well prove that they didn't spend a lot of money to make that game. And by industrial standards, it probably could be a budget title. And I can put my information out now. AAA. First of all, let's get that out the way. AAA does not indicate quality of a game. It just indicates the amount of money that was spent to make it.
It used to, but
well, I mean, let's be frank. Seventh and eighth gen are filled with quote unquote AAA games that aren't AAA.
That's what I'm saying. It used to. Back when I was a kid, when people said AAA, it meant the game was really high quality.
Let me put it this way. That was the connotative meaning of AAA back in the day. It's always meant how much you spend on something to make it. It has nothing to do with the quality.
Just saying, gamers. That's what gamers thought back then. When you said AAA, it meant quality as far as the game.
Back then, gamers they were wrong back then too. AAA just means the amount of money you spend on something. For example, I'm going to use 1994 numbers. These are numbers it took to make Mortal Kombat 2 in 1994. $5 million to make the game and $10 million to advertise it globally. So $15 million in total from Acclaim.
Okay.
Now, and it made $50 million in profit. Now, there was another game that came out in 1994 that was made with a far smaller budget. And you might know this game. It's called Donkey Kong Country.
Okay.
Donkey Kong Country, like Mortal Kombat 2, had what were considered revolutionary graphics for the time.
Yeah.
You know how much it cost to make that game?
I'm not aware.
$30,000.
$30,000 to make Donkey Kong Country.
$30,000 to make Donkey Kong Country. That's just to have the game made. I don't know how much it costs to print on the cartridges. I'm pretty sure that since Nintendo owned the factories to actually make the cartridges, they probably sold them at cost to themselves, which is actually a pretty smart business move, because if you control the factors of production, why charge yourself more to make something? That makes no sense. But so basically, the story about how Donkey Kong Country got made is that one of the Rare guys wanted to make a game, and they went to Howard Lincoln. He was like, well, we want to make a game. The guy's like, well, we don't have a lot of money to make, like, we need to put money into making a commercial. The guy's like, well, how much did it take you to make a commercial? To make a 30-second commercial for television back then was $30,000. And they were given $30,000, and they made Donkey Kong Country, the original Donkey Kong Country, which is still the second highest selling SNES game, non-Mario SNES game. So basically, it sold 9 million units, and they generated $45,000 worth of revenue. If you consider that the cartridges back then,
45,000. You mean
45? No, sorry, $45 million in revenue. If you consider that it costs $50 to buy a cartridge at that time, and I'm rounding it off because I know the euro and the yen and all that type of stuff, but I'm just using a general guideline by that. That's a lot of money for a $30,000 game. And here's the thing: that game used what were considered top of the line graphics back then. The two sequels, Donkey Kong Country 2 and Donkey Kong Country 3, they used a downgraded version of that graphical software. So they were actually even cheaper to make in those regards. So, I mean, and that was back then. Now, we know, obviously, as time goes on, that prices go up. For example, Call of Duty, the finest in 2004, that's 10 years later, cost $8.5 million to make. Company of Heroes cost $7 million, which, I mean, that was 2004. Goddamn, that's I mean, that was considered a AAA title for 2004, and now we look 10 years after that. These are more modern games. These were the most recent I could really find, except for maybe Destiny. But I don't want to touch Destiny because that game is like, they said they spent 140 million, but they'll never tell exactly how much. Driver, 34 million in 2014. Half-Life 2, 40 million. Halo 2, 20 million. Jak 3, they said they spent 10 million to make that game. And World of Warcraft, for 4 years upkeep after the fact they made it, is $200 million. That's the servers, the upkeep and maintenance for the servers, all the little patches and content upgrades and all those features that everyone keeps on saying that they love so very much. So basically, as we can see, the price of these AAA games has gone up and up and up over time, right? We can agree on that.
Yeah, prices as the HD era, prices went up.
And we also, but we noticed that, we have a company that basically generally tends to try to keep their budgets tamed, if you will.
I agree.
Okay. They try to, you look at their games, and here's the thing. There are some games on here that people call AAA that are actually budget titles. Call of Duty has been using the same engine, although heavily customized, for the last 10 years. Okay? I didn't look at Madden, but I'm pretty sure, I mean, we can agree with those reused assets, same engine year over year over year. The most expensive thing about making that game is the advertising, because they do, Super Bowl, that type of stuff. So my point is this. If Nintendo in 94 could make a huge game like that for a $30,000 budget, that's just to have the game made. Now, with the cartridges and distribution, could have been more, but let me put it this way, probably $45 million. I'm pretty sure they kept their stuff in line. I'm pretty sure that philosophy that they had back then is still part of the company now. And you look, and an example that I used is Splatoon. Yes, the game has online. Yes, the game has servers to have that online presence. But I mean, you look at the characters. There's little to no voice acting.
Okay, so they save money there. I'm aware of that.
They reuse a lot of the same assets throughout all the levels.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to deny the game is fun as hell.
A lot of games do that. Even
but
AAA games
is almost egregious with it.
I mean, but that doesn't make it. Here's the thing. What I'm trying to say is, and I understand your points, but what I'm trying to say is that doesn't make it a budget title for Nintendo. They could have think that. I mean, when you talk about a game and when you put it out, it's not only how much it costs to produce the game. It also the advertising is put into that as far as the cost of the game. And Splatoon had an advertising.
Splatoon had a lot of advertising.
Mario Kart.
Absolutely right.
So it did have a lot of advertising.
But here's the problem with saying that advertising in this case was part of the cost. Nintendo, this game was in development for obviously like a year
or two. I mean,
I'm going to say more or less a year. Okay, at the most 18 months, but I'm gonna say more or less a year. Because I mean it's not. I mean, this doesn't feel like a 2-year, 3-year development game. Okay,
well, the ideas could have been pondering for 2 years.
Ideas, but the actual development it's I'm gonna say a year. Now, when you and I don't know how much you might. Whatever, but as we all know, Nintendo is a worldwide company. They have different sections that have their own budgets. That money is disseminated at the beginning of the fiscal year. That money was already in the budget. They knew Splatoon. They were like, okay, they budgeted it to hit in the same time as Mario Kart. They spent, I don't know how much they spent, but it was already budgeted. That money was already spent and already budgeted in for what they were going to spend for that year on advertising.
How does that make it a budget title? And even if they budgeted,
because the thing is, if they already spent the money to advertise it, like it was already, because we know Nintendo has advertising firms in Europe, and we know in America they probably have an advertising firm that they give a certain. It's already, the money's already budgeted for. There's nothing over that, so it didn't go over budget, and it probably wasn't extravagant to do that, because I mean, as we see, Splatoon has had a lot of advertisement, but a lot of their advertisement has been Twitter, YouTube.
They've got full blown segments on Cartoon Network where they say, we have a whole special in this new game called Splatoon, and this is where this blah 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 blah. They have full blown ads on Cartoon Network.
That's money that they gave an ad agency. That's money that they already budgeted and spent.
Doesn't matter. That's still part of the game.
No, that's not part of the game, because here's the thing. That's blanket money that they already spent.
It doesn't matter. It's part of
it does matter. If you already look, okay, let me put it this way, okay?
Absolutely not, dude.
No, yes, it is. Yeah, okay. If I pay, yes, it is. If I pay $50,000 per year in order to rent 20 arcade machines for 2 years. I mean, that's $100,000, but if I'm paying $50,000 in the beginning of the year, that money has already been spent. That has nothing to do with my profit or revenue.
But here's the thing: you're saying you think, you don't actually know if this is happening. And on top of that,
you're right.
Each money is allocated. Look, when games,
you're absolutely right. I don't know if that happened, but here's the thing: smartly run businesses, ones that are successful, they do these things.
Okay, and that's great if they do these things. But what I do know about businesses is that they've set aside, they also allocate money, like funds, towards what they feel is going to be, what's going to be the most popular. They allocate, well, this is how much we're spending on marketing. Nintendo's talked about this beforehand, and they obviously had to allocate a big source of funds, more than they would have to like a game like Captain Toad or a game like Donkey Kong Country. They have to put that blanket amount.
That's a blanket amount of money that's already been budgeted. That's the thing. Like, you're still they already budgeted that money. Like, that doesn't necessarily
think they've already budgeted the money. And if you look at what Splatoon,
I mean, a smartly run company, that's what you do. I mean,
Splatoon also has server maintenance. They also have live events. They also have other stuff. So that factors into the cost. In my opinion, from what I'm seeing, Splatoon is not a budget title. It could be a title that makes like a little bit, like, it's not as expensive. but it's definitely not a Pushmo, or it's not like a Harmo Knight.
I would say that by the rest of the industry standards, Splatoon is a budget.
But that's not what I was saying, Red Fox, and you know that's not what I was saying. We all
and
know,
I would say that by
compared to
Nintendo
Destiny
standards, I would say that by Nintendo standards, compared to what they may have spent on Mario Kart 8 or what they're spending on Zelda Wii U, it is a budget title. Maybe not.
We don't know how much they spent on any of those.
Maybe maybe not on the scale that you're talking about with Pushmo, or it's not Pushmo, Stretchmo or Harmo Knight. But I mean, hell.
But okay, so then that means a large majority of Nintendo's games are budget titles then, because a lot of the majority of Nintendo's titles don't have online, don't have server maintenance, didn't have the marketing that Splatoon got. So Donkey Kong Country, budget title. Everything's a budget title. Wii Party's a budget title.
And that's
a budget title. Everything's a budget title Nintendo's made then.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
See, and that's just you're just assuming. Now you're just assuming it's a budget title because
listen. Okay, if you can, let me put it this way, okay? If you have the best first party developers in the industry, right? And you give them a small budget and you say make a game, and they make a game that sells gangbusters on a very small budget. I mean, like, here's the thing. We know for years Nintendo, like, here's the thing. They make money off of their software, right? They tend more often than not to make huge amounts of money on their software. Now, here's the thing. At one point we had 5 first-party companies during the 16-bit generation. We had Hudson, we had Sega, we had Atari with whatever the hell they had. We had Nintendo, and we had like maybe a knockoff console. I can't remember, but I mean, you had quite a bit. Why is it that this one company can seem to turn a profit even on games that by normal standards, that game bombed? But I mean, if they keep their budgets in line, they made a profit, or at least broke even.
I'm not arguing that Nintendo doesn't do a good job of budgeting their titles. What I'm saying is that even for Nintendo's standards, Nintendo isn't treating this game like a budget title. They've never said it's a budget title. They charge $60 if it's a budget title.
Yeah, but you're making budget sound like it's a negative thing. There's nothing wrong with having a title that, okay, let me put it this way. If what Nintendo considers to be like, okay, we took some of our Tokyo EAD developers, we gave them a small budget, and we said, go make a game. And, because, I mean, basically Splatoon is one of their garage games, what they call their garage initiative. So they're obviously not going to be putting AAA funds into a garage.
They don't put AAA funds into anything.
Exactly. They don't budget all of their games.
So that's what I'm trying to say, is that doesn't mean it is a standard of. First of all, we don't even know what a standard of a budget title is.
Not for Nintendo, we don't.
We set no standard, yet you're calling it a budget title. That's my.
I'm saying that So your argument isn't that they had it well budgeted. Your argument is an argument of semantics.
No, because you said here's the thing. Let's get to the whole point of it. Let's get to the whole point. You said one of the reasons why Splatoon shouldn't have voice chat. Well, because it's a budget title. It's a budget title. It shouldn't have it because it's a budget title. So then that's when I was like, well, wait a minute. First of all, what does that have to do with anything? There's so many budget titles or indie titles
because there's maintenance and upkeep for that.
But there's so many games that are so-called budget titles, like Castle Crashers and stuff like that have voice chat. Voice chat is not some type of sacred thing that costs so much money to make and to maintain and to do. It's not. But the thing is developers. I've spoken to Shinnon. I've spoken to Armature. I've spoken to so many studios that make games on Wii U, and nobody says it's something that voice chat is so. And here's the thing, if voice chat was such a big deal and if it was so expensive, then the crappy ass ports that we got on Wii U wouldn't have it. Because those are, from what Ubisoft says, those take $1 million to make. That's what Ubisoft said. A crappy Xbox 360 port or decent Xbox 360 port. From Xbox 360 to Wii U takes about $1 million. All of the games that came out in that crap range, the crap era for Nintendo, when they launched the system and they had all those third-party developers that were putting those games out, all of them have voice that are online. All of them have voice chat, and it's not a problem, and it sounds fine, and it sounds okay. It's not the
Does
best.
it sound fine?
Sounds okay. It sounds okay. I have Mass Effect. It sounds okay. It's not the best quality, but it sounds okay. It's okay. It's not as good.
I'll take your word for it.
I have Mass Effect 3 on the Wii U.
Look, I'll take your word for it. I'm not. Look, I won't be jumping into that pool to test the temperature of that water. But my point is that to me, the reason I think it didn't have that is because they were told, here's this small budget. Here's how much XY costs to do XY, and they were like, well, we don't want to go over budget. We won't add it. Plus, they had the internal tests where people were dropping N-bombs and F-bombs. So, I mean, that
does not make sense. I'm sorry. Like, then you should make it.
Look, man, that's what I heard.
That's ridiculous.
I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard.
It's not true. I don't think it's true because we don't know if it's true or not. And here's the thing. Then you should make it to where you can only speak with your friends. Then make it to where you can only speak with your friends, and that shouldn't be a problem. That shouldn't be a problem. Nintendo, at this point, like I said, some of their management and some of the people who run this company, at this point, the fact that they didn't fix these things, either they gave up on the Wii U at a very early point and didn't tell anybody and just said, let's just hope and pray that people just love our games at the 3DS and they don't care that we don't care about listening to what they want in the system. That's what they did with the Wii U, and it didn't work. The 3DS, it worked because but they had 3DS has third-party games too, though. They have RPGs. Yeah, but
3DS has the 3DS's third-party support is far less than it was on the DS.
It destroys Nintendo's or the Wii U's. It destroys the Wii U's.
But I mean,
on the 3DS, I can get Shin Megami Tensei 4.
But
Bravely Default, I can get Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance.
Comparatively speaking to its previous iteration, the DS, it's very lackluster.
It still destroys Wii U. And another thing is
but that's not.
And Nintendo decided that RPGs aren't going to be a thing on Wii U. We don't need RPGs. They
let's be frank here. RPGs on a console are resource intensive.
But they showed us. They showed us Xenoblade Chronicles and they showed us Shin Megami Tensei in 2013, right after.
And those are being made by outside studios.
Monolith Soft doesn't.
Not Monolith Soft, but like I said, that's a resource-intensive game. They got it out this year, so basically in Japan, it probably was started. Nintendo of America probably started translating it last year as they got different parts of it to start working on. So. They're probably working on something else. But, the thing is, RPGs are very, okay, let me put it this way. Nintendo is not, even though, now that they have Monolith Soft underneath them and they stole Camelot from Sega and they took all of the real talent at Sega for making RPGs and all that type of stuff, they could pump out more RPGs, but like I said, RPGs are very resource intensive. It's a lot of you're talking in order to make a good RPG, it has to be done you're talking 2-3 years, and Nintendo likes high turnover rate with that type of stuff.
Okay, and I understand that, but it's either you use another company to help you put more RPGs on your system. You have to do
Atlas thing, but even Atlas needs time to make a game.
You can't sit here and announce a game in 2013 and then make it seem as if
come on. Did they announce that game in 2013?
Okay,
they showed a dude. They showed a poster of a dude from Shin Megami Tensei. They cut and paste that shit on a slide and put.
I understand, but what I'm trying to get at with this is this. Nintendo, they can't sit here and say we have RPGs, and I figured, and a lot of people said, oh well, Nintendo's developing RPGs. Well, what they failed to tell us is, those are the only two we have in development for almost the whole lifespan of the Wii U. Well, that's ridiculous.
Well, look, let me put it this way. They have their own internal RPG studio working on it. Could they possibly do more? Yeah, they could have Camelot make a Golden Sun on the Wii U.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It could be a downloadable title. It would be less risky for them.
Yes, that would be great. A great downloadable title would be great.
Awesome. They could have a Paper Mario from Intelligent Systems.
That would be nice.
intelligence system seems to be able to turn out games really quickly, considering they turned out Codename Steam, and then like Fire Emblem IF. You know, I mean that's damn quick turnover. That's all.
Well,
I mean, they're
not
using the same engine from Awakening, but still.
But wait a minute, Fire Emblem is not a quick turnover. It's coming out in 2016. The first one came out in 2013. Same with Japan, 2012 to 2015. That's 3 years. It's not quick.
But that's still.
That's not quick. That's a standard.
This way, Fire Emblem is their bread and butter franchise, so they put some time and energy into it. But it seems quick to me. I'm just saying.
How does 3 years seem quick to you? What kind of
well,
what type of generation do you live in where 3 years is quick? I mean, we got Call of Duty that come out every 1 year. We've got
but I don't I bought one Call of Duty on like of this gen, and that was Call of Duty Ghost, and I got it for $13 on Amazon. And I opened the box it was in. I was like, I'm not even gonna play this shit. And I boxed it back up and got my money back.
I'm trying to say that 3 years is not a quick turnaround. That's not a quick turnaround for game. That is standard protocol for a budgeted game.
For an RPG, that's 3 years. Yeah, that's
even
for
any game. I mean, it takes developers to make action games. It takes them 3 years, or it takes them 4 years. I mean, that's not quick. Does
it? Because we're continuously getting Assassin's Creeds.
Okay, well, that's quick turnaround. What I'm saying is that 3 to 4 years is not quick turnaround. Quick turnaround is 1 year. That's quick. 1 year to get in the game every year, but 3 years is not quick by any means. Like that is not quick.
That is ridiculous. But like all I'm saying is this. You're right. They could possibly do more on the RPG front, but for what they are doing with RPGs, I can kind of understand like Monolith Soft. I mean, these are the same people.
What are they doing with RPGs on the Wii U? How many RPGs has Nintendo released on the Wii U that we can play right now? How many full 60 price titles? They've released 0.
Besides the Monolith Soft game, and that's just in Japan right now.
They don't have that. I've played it. I've played it, but I don't understand anything that's in it. But I've played it. It's a great game. Don't get me wrong. It's fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. And when people play it this December, they're going to be in for a treat because it's awesome. But we can't play that yet. That in a language that we can understand.
Yeah. It'll be out this September.
You can't sit here
2.5 years after it was announced.
You can't sit here and release a system and have one RPG in 3 years.
Well, I mean, like I said, man, that's a third party thing.
And that's what it's a third party thing, and it's also
and don't
Nintendo's
say it's
thing.
because of features, because most RPGs are single player.
I didn't say that. Nintendo.
No. Most RPGs are single player. So
I never said that because of features. What I'm trying to say is that Nintendo, if they know that they're not going to have RPGs, they should have reached out to a company to help them make an RPG quicker. Like they should have reached out.
And they have. I mean, that's Atlas. That's Atlas.
Atlas is taking longer than Shin Megami Tensei, or it's longer than Xenoblade Chronicles. So, I mean, that's not reaching out and helping. Reaching out is getting an RPG out in 1.5 to 2 years. Does it have to be a AAA super amazing? No. But can it just be something for RPG fans to play?
Just standard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can it be just a good RPG?
I think
let's be honest, the Mario and Luigi games aren't that great. Like, I played Dream Team. It's okay. It's not great, but it's okay.
Mario and Luigi games are niche. Like me, I love them. But then again, I'm an RPG fanatic. Almost all RPGs I love.
But what I'm trying to say is that the 3DS has those type of games. Shin Megami Tensei 4 is not an amazing, oh my gosh, have to play, must buy. For some people it is.
No, it isn't.
For everybody,
I have that game. But it's fun for what it is, but it's not what I mean. Here's the thing. I don't really like second guessing. I don't like second guessing a company that has $10 billion in cash reserves. Because as a business owner, I'm trying to get there.
Why would you not second guess Nintendo when they've sold about 10 million Wii U's in going on its third year? You need to second guess it
because this is like their second quote unquote failed console. And
no company is free from criticism, no matter how well they do. Sony has sold 5 billion PS4s, yet people criticize them up and down.
Yeah, but
so no company is free from criticism, no matter how well they've done.
Actually, I'm not saying that it's free of criticism. I'm just saying I'm not going to try and armchair quarterback a company that's done more than I have.
Quarterback.
What I will say,
quarterbacking them. I'm saying as a consumer.
What I will say is that it would be awesome if we had more RPGs. I think they tried to lean on indies to bring a lot of those type of mid-tier, lower-tier games. But like these are indie developers, they don't have the resources, and a lot of them, I mean, a lot of their games have been delayed and that type of thing. I think that's what they tried to use to kind of fill the gaps. And to be fair, Sony and Microsoft are doing the same thing with indies too.
But they have third-party developers.
They have third parties.
I just picked up Batman Arkham. I just picked up Batman. It's fantastic on my Xbox One. It's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I have a friend who picked it up on PC.
Oh, well, that's PC. I'm not talking about PC. I don't.
Yeah, it's not fantastic.
Okay, well, I'm talking about we're talking about consoles here, though.
On the Xbox One, it is. Well, I mean, I've played it. It's man to me, but whatever.
Okay, but different strokes for different folks, or whatever.
Different strokes for different folks. Let me put it this way. To get back to task before we end this, because I have a podcast at 1:30. Okay. My supposition is that Nintendo keeps their games well budgeted, and by the rest of the industry standards, their games that would normally be considered what for Nintendo might be considered to be, well, this is just a game, we're putting it out there. By the rest of the industry standards, their games are not AAA.
Well, here's the thing, and like I said, just so we can get back to what we were saying, I understand that Nintendo, I'm in agreement that Nintendo does have lower budgets for their games, and it's budgeted well. I just don't see that as an excuse to not include, a feature like voice chat or features like friend invites to where you can enjoy playing your games with your friends easier and faster. Like the fact that we have to wait 30 seconds just to send a message to hope to somebody could come and play a game. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable by anybody, by consumer electronic standards. That's not acceptable.
We were talking about Splatoon.
Yeah, I'm talking about Splatoon.
And now you're talking about the system. But since you want to talk about the system, my supposition about the system was that you're paying, like you're getting different things. Like each experience is different. You have your experience cost. Now, for some people, looking at the sales, that experience cost isn't worth it. They're like, well, it does have good games, but it doesn't have the features that I want. Okay, then that's Nintendo's problem. For me as a gamer, for the type of gamer that I am, it's not an issue for me.
I'll tell you something right now. If Nintendo caters to the type of gamer that you are, they're not going to sell any Nintendo NXs. Let me just say that right. They're going to barely sell. They're going to barely sell anything, or it's going to be a repeat of the Wii U.
I mean, well, to be fair, the Wii didn't cater to gamers like me, and I mean, it sold remarkably well. So I mean, I want Nintendo to do. I want Nintendo's, and I'm not going to call the NX their next console because we don't know shit about it aside from.
Well, Reggie called it their next console, but hey.
Well, yeah, but like, here's the thing, like.
And Tanabe called it their next console.
Reggie and Tanabe, like Reggie's the COO, Tanabe is a director. Like I'm not like those dudes are in the know, but here's the thing, I'm not going to trust what they say because Reggie said a lot of shit. Until I see Iwata pop out with whatever he has in his hands. Now then, I see what Iwata has to say, then I'll be like, okay, yeah. But until I see that, everything else is speculation.
I think the NX is actually, I think it's two. I think it's a console, and I also think it's a handheld. I think it's both. I think they'll release them. I think it's both. I think they're going to have an NX handheld, and they're going to have an NX console. They're going to have a dedicated, just like 3DS and Wii U. The only difference, in my opinion, is that it's going to, share libraries and do other stuff like One OS, like they said. But I don't think Nintendo would announce their next handheld when their current handheld is already doing okay. Like that just
they did the same. They did the same thing with the DS and the Game Boy Advance. So actually. They've done this before. Personally, I mean, and I guess we can talk about a little bit about the NX. Do we have any questions?
Not really. There's like one, but it's just about
a troll.
No. It's just about one of them just said coupon.
Oh God, coupon.
But let's let's
You're
not
such
get
a
into,
lovely person.
let's not get into that. Coupon is a fantastic person.
Yeah, that's what I said. She's such a lovely person.
She is, and she has a great channel. But what I wanted to say, just so we can finish this one, because I did want to talk just a little bit, because we kind of go off about Splatoon. I just feel that Nintendo should, if they make an online game, it should support friend invites, and it should support voice chat for people who want those things.
So you want the option to have these things.
Yeah, I would. Yes, I would like, if I pay $60 for a game and if I pay $300 for a console, then yes, I would like the option. If you want to make me pay for the option, like let's say, well, if you want premium features like party chat and stuff, then you have to pay a certain amount of money. Then that should be an option. It should be, and that's what I'm saying. Nintendo, they obviously know these things, because listen, if you're going to make consumer electronics, I don't care how unique you want to be. You need to look at what your competitors are doing, and you need to make sure that you have a product that is, it doesn't have to be exactly similar, but you need to make sure that it's in line to where you don't get lapped. That's what I'm saying, like as far as those things. And right now, the Sony and Microsoft are kind of lapping Nintendo, and that's what I'm saying. Nintendo just doesn't care. They're trying to cut their losses, and they don't care. Otherwise, they would have developed a new app or a new thing to give people these, but they don't care, so they won't develop it.
So you would say they're just running out the clock until they can get their next console at the door.
Yes. What company is getting beat as bad as they're getting beat as far as console sales, not necessarily profit, but as far as console sales? What company is doing that and not look at what their competitors are doing and saying, how could we improve? When Nintendo was beating up on Microsoft and Sony, what did they do? We need to make Kinect. We need to make a Sony move. They reacted, because nobody's going to sit there and let them get pummeled. You know what I'm saying? Like, most companies aren't going to sit there and just let them get destroyed like that. See, and that's the reason why with the NX and what I think they're doing, I think there should be a fast turnaround, because don't sit there and announce the system, then let your competitors copy you. And Iwata said this. Don't let them, because they will.
Yeah,
they will.
Can we be frank?
Sony
and Microsoft have always stolen stuff from Nintendo. I mean, that's what everyone does.
And the more time you give them, people are talking about, oh, well, it's going to come out in 2018. If you announce the system in 2016, like show it off, reveal what it can do, then talk about it more in 2017, then talk about it a little bit more in 2018.
Well, I have a question.
They're going to jack every idea that you do.
Do you honestly think that? Because, I mean, the Wii U, like, we kind of knew what it was early on, because third parties went and blabbed to everybody about what it was. I mean, do you think that if Nintendo does the same thing with their next console or handheld, whatever the NX is, I have no idea, their next I'm going to call it their dedicated hardware, then what's to stop them from stealing it anyway?
Well, here's the thing, it's time. Like, when you find out about something, you need time to react. If you give them a lot of time to react, yeah, third parties will tell. Of course they'll tell. But Microsoft and Sony still need time to react. If you give them a year's worth of time to react, that's a problem. See, Microsoft and Sony, they both announced their system in 1 year and launched it that year. Don't give each other time to say, hey, let me do this. Hey, let me do this. Let me do this. And that's what I don't want Nintendo to do. I want them to get this system out, and they can sell it alongside Wii U, because I don't want Microsoft and Sony to jack their ideas. If they're going to have ideas, I don't want them to jack. I want Microsoft and Sony to do them. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to copy Nintendo, because they will. And I don't want them to bolt on things like smart glass integration. That's fine for the options for people who want that. But it ended up being a waste of resources. And Kinect.
What, dude? You don't want to have shit strapped to your forehead, beaming into your eyes.
And here's the thing. And Nintendo, they sat there and they said, okay, well, we have this tablet controller, and we're going to put this tablet controller out on the market. And then they decided, well, we're not going to really make use of this tablet controller, but we're going to charge people for this tablet controller, like the cost of the system, and put in there. Now, Miyamoto said, hey, if Microsoft and Sony had a tablet controller, it would be $100 more. So everybody deducted, well, wait a minute. So the system's $199, and and the tablet controller is $100 worth of. So I mean, it's $100 worth of what the system costs. Like, that's a problem, because Nintendo's
There's a lot of tech in that tablet controller.
It's a great piece of tech. It's a great piece of tech. I agree. But the problem is that Nintendo's best games, at least from what Metacritic wise and even somewhat to a sales perspective,
they don't even use as a matter of fact, which is why Splatoon has been selling so well, because it does actually use the gamepad very well.
It uses it in a good way. But here's the thing: you're selling that game to people who already believe in Nintendo. The people that are, because console sales
it has been moving. It has been moving some consoles, not as much as they would like, but it has been moving some consoles.
In Japan. But I think you're selling to the fringe people, the people who are like, you know what, I'm gonna get one anyway. And I think Splatoon might have been that game. You're not selling it to the mass amounts of people who don't believe in the system at this point. So I would just hope for Nintendo next generation is that they don't leave any gamers out. Don't shut anybody down. I know you might not be into voice chat as much as other people. I know you might not be into party chat. I know you might not be into friend invites and stuff like that and those type of things. But don't shut people out who like that type of stuff, you know. And you can sell more.
I never said they should be shut out. I just simply said that the option can be there, but I don't personally care much for it.
But the thing about it is, you're saying you don't care about it, and that's fine if you don't care about it.
Don't. But if other people want it, look. If Nintendo wants to make a console that has those types of features, good for them.
They should.
I'm not gonna get bad with that. Okay, now we do have some questions, and actually good ones.
Okay, you can read them.
Okay. Question for Mr. Red Fox. Do you think Nintendo will invest AMD to make both x86 and ARM processors for the upcoming NX, quote-unquote NX hybrid system? Let's see. I don't know. Like the thing about Nintendo and hardware is this: they've put billions of dollars into their PowerPC architecture. Like billions. Like it would be not cost effective for them to throw away what they've been invested billions into up to this point and throw that away so they can make x86 architecture, which by the way, x86 architecture is not actually the best coding for game development. It's actually like the most basic, and it has a lot of issues, which is why you're seeing games come out on the other two consoles that are broken, buggy pieces of you know what. So basically, I don't think they're going to do that. I think whatever Nintendo's going to do, they're probably going to have like some type of because we still don't know how what the Wii U's hardware specs are. But I think what they're going to have on the NX is some type of mystical. They sacrifice like 25 demons in a box, and it's probably going to be compatible with x86 and ARM processors. Because if it is a hybrid, or they have that interconnectivity between a handheld and a console, they're going to want backwards compatibility, and they're going to want, because they're going to want the 52 million people who have 3DSs to say, oh, well, I can keep my same stuff and just move on over to this one, which is something they've always pretty much done with all their handhelds. So, no, they're not going to throw away billions of dollars of research to make it easier for people who haven't really made it easy for them. Make games.
Here's the thing, and I'm going to have to disagree with Nintendo not throwing away that research, because that research, that billions of dollars of research for the Wii U, right?
Yeah,
has resulted in almost nothing for them. It's resulted in almost nothing, and there's not a large fan base of people who have the Wii U. So
no, the reason I'm going to say that they shouldn't throw it away is because the Wii U's architecture is based on the Wii's architecture, right?
They used what was it, PowerPC?
It's basically based on the Wii architecture. The Wii's architecture is based on the GameCube's architecture. Now, they spent billions of dollars over these years refining that to the point where it uses very little power, and they can get a lot of graphical fidelity for a very little amount of effort and energy put into it. So basically, if you have this marvelous piece of tech, which other companies have licensed and used and copied, then it makes sense if you invest all that money into something, then to just say, oh, fuck it, and walk away.
Well, they don't have to. They can continue selling the Wii U alongside the NX.
And here's the thing. I'm saying with Nintendo, because Nintendo very rarely does what other people do. Even when they have the same features, they very rarely do what other people do. I think what they're going to do with their thing is that they're going to have it so that it is comparable. It can interact with, it can emulate x86 and ARM processors, because they do want backwards compatibility. Nintendo's kind of big on that. But
we'll see. I guess. I mean, I think,
like, personally speaking, I'm just saying, for the last 3-4 gens, And here's the thing: if you're saying it's a hybrid console, right? That means it's also going to be compatible with their handheld. Then they want people. They want those 52 million people to just do the trade over, So it's going to have some form of backwards compatibility. Can't do that if it's got a completely different architecture.
I don't think there's going to be I personally don't think there's going to be backwards compatibility with Wii U. If you're talking about like the whole third pillar thing, I don't know if there's going to be backwards compatibility with Wii U.
I think it will have backwards compatibility.
If it does, that's fine. But that's going to increase the cost of the console. You know what I'm saying? That's going to increase the cost of the console.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will increase the cost of the console. I think when you heard Microsoft and Sony talk about how expensive backwards compatibility is, I think that was just bullshit so they could sell you a more expensive console and take out features. But that's just me.
You have to obviously put in work for it to be backwards.
Well, clearly, but the thing is, if you build your console correctly or the way you want to, like. I think they can give the best of both worlds. I think they can. Maybe not. I don't know, but I think they can. Do you think Nintendo of America have shot themselves with the sun don't shine because they're not launching Devil's Third, one of my most wanted games, and Fatal Frame, Made in the Blackwater, only at the Wii U eShop? I wasn't aware. Well, I knew about the first part of that question. I didn't know about the second part of that question. I don't know. Because Nintendo of America's always been kind of weird. Because they're games that launch in Japan, no problem, and then they get to America, and we got shortchanged, or they were heavily censored, or whatever. And they might not want to. Push those games here in America, which is a damn shame because the Wii U right now is mostly made up of core Nintendo fans. So at this point you just really need to make those people happy. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know what's happening behind closed doors. So I don't know what's happening. So I don't know.
With Devil's Third, we need to wait and see. I heard a rumor from Sean Long over the Nintendo Enthusiast on Class versus Crass.
Yeah, I saw that too. So
where they said that it's going to be like a GameStop exclusive, published by a third-party developer. So
I would hate that game if it was a GameStop exclusive.
You can. If it's a GameStop exclusive, then it's probably going to be available on the eShop as well.
Yeah. I just don't like buying stuff from GameStop. So
I
would rather just buy it off the eShop.
To all the people who are looking for my coverage, I'll get the game on August 4th. It's in English. It's already in English. I'll get it on August 4th when it launches in Japan, and I'll play the game in English. So you guys can expect coverage and a review from me. So
it's a fun game.
Yeah, it should be fun. Well, I think you have a podcast by 1:30, right, Fox?
Yeah, I do, and I got to go get that ready. It was good to have this debate. I don't think either of us were readily agreed on either's topics, but we kind of did meet in the middle.
Yeah, we met in the middle when it comes to budget.
We kind of did meet in the middle on the whole thing.
Well, yeah, I just don't think that Nintendo's just to sum it up, just so for people who joined late, I just don't think that the budget of the game should affect whether it has voice chat, because there's games that have lower budgets that have voice chat
that have those features as well. So so that's what I was saying. So maybe it's just Nintendo being Nintendo. I don't know. They are stubborn bastards. They are stubborn bastards. I love them. I love their games, but they are stubborn bastards. So maybe they'll find a way to meet. Maybe they'll find a way to make both ends meet.
I hope
it'll be good for everybody.
I hope so with the NX. I hope so that they do that with the NX. But anyway, that wraps it up for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate all of you guys that came out. Make sure you check out playeressence.com for all your news, reviews, trailers, tips, and tricks. We got plenty of stuff going up this weekend, although I'm a little tired, so I don't know if I'll be posting it right away. But you guys should get some updates by tonight. Mr. Red Fox, do you want to tell people where they can find you at?
Yeah, this is Mr. Red Fox. You can find me at Mr. Red Fox at YouTube. You can also, well, no, that's just it because I don't have a website. If you're in the DC metropolitan area, you can come to one of my 2 barcades, soon to be 3 in about 2 months, and play video games and drink tons of beer. But other than that, nothing.
Red Fox, I need to set up a visit to go to your bar, dude. I do need to set up a visit with that. To go there. All right, then, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.